Every single day, life hands us a gift wrapped in silence. It doesn't arrive with drums or trumpets. It comes quietly, almost unnoticeably, like the morning sun creeping through your window before your alarm ever goes off. And what's inside that gift isn't just time, it's possibility. It's power. It's a brand new, untouched, unscripted opportunity to take what's been and change what will be. That gift is called today. But here's the strange thing. Most people overlook it, not because they don't want better, not because they're lazy, and not because they don't care. They miss it because they've trained their eyes to always look at tomorrow. They've bought into the lie that change needs time, that you have to wait until the conditions are perfect, until your past mistakes are behind you, until motivation strikes like lightning out of nowhere. So instead of acting today, they stall. They tell themselves, I'll start next week, or I'll try again once I feel ready. But let me ask you something. When has ready ever been a real moment? When have all the stars ever truly lined up? When has life ever given you a perfect runway, cleared of doubts, fears, responsibilities, and distractions? The truth is, it doesn't. It never has, and it never will. Because the day you're waiting for isn't tomorrow. It's not someday, it's today. And it always has been. Everything you need to start is already within your reach. Maybe not everything you need to finish, but everything you need to begin. And there's something powerful about beginnings. They spark movement. They break the chains of hesitation. They breathe life into your identity, your habits, your mindset. Beginning changes your state. It puts you on the offensive instead of sitting back and waiting, because life doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to movement. And today is the most accessible place to begin that movement. We underestimate what today can do. We treat it like a placeholder, just another 24 hours to get through. But what if I told you that your whole life could shift direction because of one single decision made today? Because it can. You can decide to stop letting fear rule your steps. You can decide to walk away from what's been holding you back. You can decide to try, even if you've failed 99 times before. You can make a phone call you've been avoiding. You can start writing the first page of the book that's been trapped in your head for years. You can sign up for the class, make the appointment, take the first step toward health, purpose, clarity, and you can do all of that before the sun sets tonight. You see, what makes today so powerful isn't that everything will change in one day, it's that everything can start to change in one day. That beginning, that shift from waiting to doing is what flips the entire script. Most people think the power of today lies in results, but that's only part of it. The real power lies in decisions. And no matter how stuck you feel, no matter how deep the hole may be, no matter how long you've been procrastinating, you are only ever one decision away from a new path. Just one. But the longer you wait, the heavier the weight becomes. Not just the weight of the task you've been avoiding, but the emotional burden of knowing you could have done something sooner. That kind of regret isn't built in a day. It's built by ignoring the potential of many days. It's built by dismissing the value of today, over and over, until what once felt possible now feels far away. But it was never far. It was just ignored. You have to stop thinking that change is some mountain you climb in one heroic day. It's not. Change is small. Change is quiet. Change is a whisper in your chest that says, start now. It's found in the way you show up today, not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts that say, I'm not waiting anymore. That's where the power lives. And the best part, you don't have to ask anyone's permission to begin. You don't need a certificate. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to convince the world. All you need is to own the day that's already yours. Because today, unlike tomorrow, is in your hands. It's here, it's real, it's ready. And the question is, are you? Procrastination doesn't walk through the front door and announce itself like a threat. It doesn't carry warning signs, red flags, or flashing lights. It doesn't scream, "I'm stealing your future." No, procrastination is far more subtle and far more dangerous than that. It doesn't destroy your life in a single blow. It quietly robs you in pieces, one delayed decision at a time. It shows up as comfort. It disguises itself as logic. You've had a long day, it says. You deserve a break. You'll get to it tomorrow. Now isn't the right time. But have you noticed something? Tomorrow turns into next week turns into next month, and before you know it, the dream has dust on it, the plan feels distant, and the motivation you once had is nowhere to be found. That's what makes procrastination so deceptive. It doesn't take away your goals. It convinces you that your goals will still be there when you're finally ready. But readiness is not a moment, it's a mindset, and you don't find it by waiting, you develop it by doing. Think about the last time you put something off, something you knew deep down mattered. At first, it probably felt harmless, maybe you even justified it, but didn't it start to grow heavier over time? That simple task became a burden. That conversation you avoided became a wall. That project you delayed started whispering, maybe you're not capable. That's not just inconvenience, that's momentum working in reverse. Because momentum works both ways. If you act, you gain power. If you delay, you lose it. One choice builds belief, the other breeds doubt. That's the invisible price of procrastination. It doesn't just steal your time. It slowly erodes your self-respect. And when that goes, so does your identity. You start to become someone who almost does things. Someone who talks about action, but never follows through. Someone with ideas, but no execution. And let me tell you something, the most painful gap in life is not between where you are and where you want to be. It's between what you know you could do and what you're actually doing. You'll never be punished for dreaming big, but you will feel the sting of repeatedly not showing up for your own life. You'll feel it when you see others moving forward while you stand still. You'll feel it when opportunities pass and you realize you weren't even in position to grab them. And you'll feel it when one day you look back and realize you didn't run out of time. You just never used the time you had. Procrastination will never feel like an enemy in the moment. It'll feel like a warm blanket, an extra hour of sleep, a little harmless scrolling, or a quick excuse. But underneath all of that is the slow, silent theft of your purpose. You don't notice the damage until you realize the year has passed and you're still talking about starting. Every minute you hesitate, something else quietly grows. Fear. Inaction gives fear room to stretch its legs. Every delay reinforces the lie that you're not ready, not good enough, not disciplined enough. And here's the worst part. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to believe you can even begin. That's how procrastination wins. Not by force, but by weakening your spirit just enough to make quitting feel easier than trying. But that's not who you are. You weren't built to live in limbo. You weren't designed to stall your way through life. You were meant to decide, to move, to build, to grow. The dreams inside you don't belong in later. They belong in motion. And that motion begins the moment you stop giving procrastination a seat at the table. Because it's not just stealing your time, it's stealing you. There's a space that exists between the life you have and the life you want. It's not filled with luck. It's not guarded by talent, and it's not reserved for the fortunate few. That space, that gap between now and your goals is crossed by one thing only: discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't shine like passion. It doesn't excite the room like inspiration. It doesn't arrive with adrenaline or applause. It's quiet, it's simple, and it's incredibly difficult. But make no mistake, it is the difference maker. Because without discipline, desire is just daydreaming. Without discipline, goals become guilt. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if you only move when you feel like it, you're surrendering your future to your moods. And moods change, they swing, they rise and fall like the wind. Discipline is what shows up when the feeling fades. It's what gets you up when the excitement is gone. It's what pushes you through the days when progress feels slow, boring, or invisible, because achievement doesn't always look exciting while it's happening. It looks like repetition. It looks like showing up when no one's watching. It looks like doing it tired, uncertain, and unrecognized. The world doesn't give you results because you want them. It gives you results because you earned them. And that currency is paid in daily discipline. Think about every area of life where you want to grow, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, relationally. There's not one of those categories that gets better by accident. There's not one that rewards laziness. Growth is always the reward of deliberate effort, and deliberate effort is the product of discipline. People talk about wanting freedom, but there's no freedom without discipline. Discipline is what allows you to build something solid, something that creates options, confidence, and momentum. Without it, everything is fragile. You can get lucky once or twice. You can feel a surge of motivation here and there, but nothing lasting is built on chance. Nothing real is sustained by impulse. Discipline is how you develop trust with yourself, and that trust is everything, because when you start keeping your own word, even in small ways, your entire self-picture shifts. You no longer just hope you'll make it, you believe you will. Why? Because you've shown up for yourself consistently, because you've trained your mind to follow through even when it's inconvenient, because you've learned to separate feelings from commitment. There's a cost to discipline, yes. It costs comfort, it costs easy days, it costs the ability to float through life without structure. But the return on that investment is exponential, because discipline compounds. It's like interest. Every small act of self-control builds on the last. Might not feel like much in the moment. Waking up on time, making that extra call, eating what you said you'd eat, writing another paragraph, staying an extra hour. But over time, it forms a pattern, and patterns form identity. And identity is where real change lives. You don't become great by trying to do great things once. You become great by doing small things greatly, consistently. That's discipline. That's what builds the bridge. That's what turns your someday into results. Not the massive leap, but the daily step. You want to know the real reason people envy successful individuals? It's not just the outcomes. It's that those people had the courage to do what most won't. They were willing to train their mind, tame their impulses, delay their comfort, and stay the course. And that's something everyone can do. But not everyone will. Discipline doesn't care where you start. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care about your excuses. What it offers you is simple: a road, a way out of chaos, a way toward growth, a way forward, no matter where you've been. Waiting for the perfect time is wasting time. There is a dangerous myth that has quietly woven itself into our thinking. The idea that the perfect moment is out there somewhere waiting to arrive, that one day the timing will feel just right, the stars will align, the fog will clear, the motivation will hit like lightning, and when it does, you'll finally begin. That lie has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. The perfect time doesn't exist. It's not a moment you find, it's a decision you make. And the longer you wait for that flawless window of opportunity, the more life slips through your fingers. Because while you're hesitating, the clock is not. While you're waiting for courage, time is moving forward. And while you're planning and thinking and overthinking, someone else is already doing. Perfection is a stalling tactic. It gives you a false sense of responsibility, like you're being wise for delaying, like you're preparing. But let's be honest, more often than not, you're not preparing, you're postponing. You're dressing up fear in the costume of logic. You're avoiding risk under the mask of not yet. Ask yourself this: how many times have you said, I'll start when I have more time? I'll try once I feel more confident. I'll begin once things calm down. And how many of those once moments ever actually came? because life doesn't get less chaotic. It doesn't slow down for your comfort. And it certainly doesn't pause for your convenience. You will never have the perfect plan. You will never feel 100% certain. The conditions will never be completely clear. And that's the point. Greatness doesn't come from waiting for clarity. It comes from learning in motion, from figuring it out as you go, from having enough faith to take the first step without seeing the whole staircase. And here's the truth most people avoid. The reason you're still waiting is not because you need more time. It's because starting means exposing yourself. It means showing up. It means risking being seen trying, and that vulnerability terrifies people. It's easier to dream quietly than to fail publicly. It's easier to imagine success than to earn it through the grind. But you can't move forward with one foot stuck in hesitation. You can't live your purpose while clinging to safety. You don't need all the answers to begin. You just need to start, because starting creates clarity. Action reveals direction. Progress builds confidence. There's no perfect time to take the leap. There's only now. Messy, imperfect, uncertain now. And every second you spend waiting for the right moment is a second you'll never get back. You don't think your way into progress. You move your way into it. Too many people are paralyzed by indecision, stuck in a cycle of overanalyzing, planning, preparing, doubting. They want guarantees. They want the whole path laid out before they take the first step. But life doesn't work that way. The answers aren't all revealed up front. The path doesn't light up until you start walking. And that's the truth most people never learn. Action creates clarity. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're not supposed to know every turn, every challenge, every solution before you begin. What matters is that you begin. Because when you do, things start to make sense. Pieces fall into place. You learn more in 1 hour of execution than in 10 hours of thought. You gain feedback, you gain experience, you gain insight. And that insight, that's what gives you direction. Sitting still breeds confusion. Moving forward breeds understanding. And that's why action is the great separator. It's the line between those who live stuck and those who live fulfilled. It's not about intelligence, talent, or even timing. It's about who's willing to go first, even when they're unsure. Clarity is not a prerequisite, it's a reward. A reward for courage, a reward for effort, a reward for faith in the unseen. You don't get it by waiting. You earn it by doing. Think about your own life. The biggest lessons didn't come from thinking about something. They came from doing it, from trying, from failing, from adjusting, from stepping into the unknown and finding out who you are in the process. And yes, you made mistakes, but those mistakes made you stronger, wiser, clearer. See, clarity doesn't mean perfection, it means alignment. It means knowing yourself better. It means realizing what works, what doesn't, and what matters most. And none of that comes through overthinking. It comes through experience. You can't think your way into shape, you have to train. You can't think your way into wealth, you have to work, invest, build. You can't think your way into confidence, you have to face fear, step up and speak when your voice shakes. Because in those moments, you learn who you are. In those moments, the fog lifts. There are people who have waited years to start something because they're not sure it's right. And there are others who just began, scared, messy, uncertain, and figured it out along the way. Guess which ones grew? Guess which ones learned? Guess which ones moved closer to the life they imagined? It's the doers, not the talkers, not the thinkers, not the I'll do it someday crowd. It's the ones who acted without full clarity and gained clarity through the action itself. Even one small step can shift your entire perspective. One phone call, one workout, one post, one sale, one honest conversation. That's all it takes to go from stuck to in motion. And once you're in motion, momentum builds, confidence grows, confusion fades. You start to trust yourself again. You realize you don't have to know everything. You just have to begin. The answers are waiting for you, but not at your desk, not in another day of planning, not in another podcast or book. They're out there. In the doing, you find them by showing up, by trying, by moving forward. Because action isn't the result of clarity. It's the source of it. Now let's be honest, discipline doesn't always feel good. It demands sacrifice. It requires effort when you're tired. It forces you to do what's uncomfortable when comfort is begging you to stop. Discipline doesn't care how your day went, how you feel in the moment, or how much easier it would be to delay. It asks for consistency. It demands obedience to your higher self, not your emotion. And that's why most people avoid it. But here's the truth, discipline hurts for a moment, regret hurts forever. You see, the pain of discipline is sharp, but it's short-lived. It's the sting of getting up early when your bed feels warm. It's the discomfort of saying no to the junk food when your cravings scream yes. It's the stretch of putting in the extra reps, doing the extra work, reading when you'd rather sleep. That's discipline. It's uncomfortable, yes, but temporary. Now compare that to the pain of regret. Regret comes slowly, quietly. It shows up not in your schedule, but in your soul. It doesn't sting for minutes, it aches for years. It doesn't leave when the task is over, it lingers long after the opportunity has passed. You don't feel regret because something was hard. You feel it because you knew you could have done more and didn't. That's a pain discipline will save you from if you let it. Most people don't regret failing. They regret not trying. They regret talking themselves out of effort. They regret ignoring the moment when they should have leaned in. They regret being more loyal to their comfort than their calling. That's the part that haunts you. Because you remember the day you said tomorrow. You remember the hour you silenced your ambition. You remember the time you could have made a move and didn't. And what makes regret so unbearable is that you can't go back and fix it. You can't redo the opportunity you let expire. You can't relive the days you wasted on excuses. The window closed, and all you're left with is the question, what if I had done it anyway? But discipline spares you from ever asking that question. It hurts in the moment, yes, but it gives you something far greater in return. Peace. Peace in knowing you gave your best. Peace in knowing you honored your time. Peace in knowing you didn't waste what was given to you. No one escapes the pain. The only question is, which pain will you choose? Because you will sacrifice either way. You'll sacrifice for growth, or you'll sacrifice your growth. You'll sacrifice your excuses, or you'll sacrifice your dreams. You'll sacrifice your comfort, or you'll sacrifice your confidence. Pain is part of the process, but regret is optional. You can choose now to pay the price through effort, sweat, repetition, and resilience, or you can avoid all of that and pay a much heavier price down the road through disappointment, stagnation, and wondering who you could have become if only you had followed through. There's something powerful that happens when you endure the pain of discipline. You become proud of yourself, and that pride builds you. It adds bricks to your self-worth. It tells your soul, I'm someone who follows through. You begin to trust your own voice again. You walk taller. You carry a quiet confidence. Because deep down, you didn't take the easy way out. And that feeling is priceless. The pain of discipline may last an hour, a day, or a week. But the rewards, they stay with you. They compound. They echo into your future. You reap the harvest long after the labor is done. But regret regret compounds too, and it always shows up when it's too late to do anything about it. It doesn't just affect what you missed, it starts to shape how you see yourself. And that can be far more devastating than any temporary discomfort. So when the moment comes, and it will, when you're tired, uncertain, or tempted to quit, remember this: discipline only asks for a little pain now, so it can give you a life that doesn't ache later. There's a point every dreamer has to face, a moment where thoughts must turn into action, where planning gives way to performance, where ideas stop swirling in the mind and start shaping the world. That point is where the dream becomes real or dies waiting. You don't get results by thinking about it. You get results by getting it done. There's no shortcut around this truth. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, draw up every vision board, but if you don't move, none of it matters. If you don't act, all that potential just rusts inside of you. And the scary part, you can get addicted to thinking. You can feel productive while doing nothing. You can feel like you're working on your dream when really you're just avoiding the hard part, execution. You can think your way into circles. You can prepare yourself into paralysis. You can fool yourself into believing that hesitation is wisdom. But the truth is, if you don't take action, you're not building, you're waiting. And waiting doesn't change your life. Work does. Because results don't come to the thinker, they come to the doer, the person who shows up, the one who laces up the shoes when no one's watching, the one who makes the call, writes the page, logs the hours, ships the product, leads the meeting, opens the laptop, and pushes themselves forward when it's not convenient, not exciting, and not perfect. Results are attracted to action, not intentions. You've met people who have amazing ideas, right? Brilliant thoughts, grand visions, but 5 years later, they're still thinking about it. Still working on something, still figuring it out. Meanwhile, someone else with half the talent, half the plan, and half the knowledge already made it happen because they did it. They weren't waiting for perfect. They were committed to progress. Action separates the hopeful from the impactful. It doesn't matter what you could do, it matters what you actually do. And the beautiful thing about action is this: it doesn't need to be flashy, it just needs to be consistent. A small step taken daily will outpace a giant leap that's always coming soon. You don't get fit by thinking about the gym. You don't get rich by thinking about investing. You don't become a leader by thinking about influence. You grow by doing. There will always be resistance. Your mind will throw up reasons to delay. Your emotions will beg for comfort. Fear will whisper lies. What if it doesn't work? What if I look stupid? What if I'm not ready? But none of that matters more than one single question. Did you show up today? Because that's where the real winners are found. In the daily grind, in the unglamorous effort, in the quiet decision to act when it would have been easier not to. Every success story, every breakthrough, every transformation, they're all rooted in not dreams. The longer you wait to move, the heavier it gets. The more you hesitate, the more power you give to fear. The more you stall, the more time you lose. And you don't get time back. You don't get another shot at today. So don't spend your life in a holding pattern circling the runway of your goals. Land the plane. Start the business. Write the chapter. Send the email. Make the appointments. Get uncomfortable. Do it scared. Do it. Because the life you want is not sitting in the clouds of thought. It's buried in the mud of effort. It's on the other side of that task you've been avoiding. It's hiding in the thing you know you need to finish, not the one you keep perfecting. You don't need more time, you need more movement. You don't need more permission, you need more courage. You don't need to think about it anymore. You just need to get it done. So here we are, full circle. You've heard the call, you've felt the pull, and now the moment is staring you in the face. Today is not just another day on the calendar. It's not just another space to waste or shuffle through half awake. Today is your proving ground, not for perfection, but for progress. Not for comfort, but for character. Not for later, but for now. Because when the day ends, when the sun drops and the silence creeps in, all that really matters is what you did with the time you were given, not what you meant to do, not what you talked about doing, not what you promised to do when things calm down. What did you do? Did you rise? Did you move? Or did you build? Did you act on the vision that's been burning inside you for years? Or did you delay one more day? Did you choose comfort over calling, excuses over execution? Let me remind you, you don't have forever. You don't have unlimited time. You don't get a second round of this life. And one day, perhaps sooner than you think, you'll look back, you'll scan through the chapters of your life, and in that moment, you won't remember every plan you wrote down, every intention you had. You'll remember the work, the action, the results, the legacy. You'll remember what you got done. So get up, get focused, get fierce. There's no better time than now, no better place than here, no better person than you. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop wasting the fire that's already in your bones. This is your time, this is your shot, this is your day. Get it done, not tomorrow. Get it done today.